Cheers.
Here you come.
Cheers.
Hey, alright. How's it going?
Hi, how are you doing?
I know, man.
Down slope to the second highest mountain around Ben McDoey. We're on a down slope. The worst storm. It was in July, right? But it felt like it was like the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Worst storm of all time. Yep.
We hope you enjoyed that you found it peaceful and relaxing to watch. We definitely enjoyed making this video, and we know it's a bit different to the kind of on-the-go vlog style stuff that we've been doing recently, but it was a real pleasure to slow the pace down on this in terms of the edit, the music that was playing, all the sound recordings that we made at the time, and just generally allowing you to enjoy the landscape that we were seeing along the way.
Of course, we are curious to know what you think. Perhaps you prefer some of the other videos, or you really like this one. Just let us know in the comments what you think.
Yeah, please do. So we wanted to tell you a little bit more about this trip that we actually took. So it was with two of our friends, Katie and Fergie, and we went in February time, so in winter.
We drove up from Glasgow. It took us about 3 hours. We drove to the Glenfinnan area just west of Fort William, and from there we hiked to 2 different bothies.
So bothies are essentially like old cottages that you find all over rural places in Scotland, like estates or crofts. They can be 100 years old or more. Sometimes they're in ruins, sometimes they are sort of spruced up a little bit and rented out by the estates that own them. But the kind that we were staying in are just open bothies.
Yeah, which means they're basically wilderness shelters. They're free to stay in and open to anyone. Access to these bothies is granted by the estate, and they're usually maintained by the MBA, which is the Mountain Bothy Association.
Yeah, so bothies are very, very basic. They are essentially a bit like camping, but with wind and waterproofing. There's no toilet, there is no electricity, there's no running water, although there's always running water nearby, like a stream or something like that. There's usually a fireplace, so you can stay warm as long as you've taken in your own fuel, or you manage to find some fuel sources nearby. And there's basic furniture like a couple of chairs, maybe a table. Sometimes there's sleeping platforms where you can sleep instead of having to sleep on the floor. They're extremely basic and essentially no facilities other than a roof over your head and shelter from the wind. You need to carry everything that you need in with you, so all of your supplies, and you also have to carry them all back out again. And bothies in general are only accessible on foot, sometimes by bike. In the case of the first place that we stayed, you could also kayak into it, but generally speaking, yeah, you can't just drive up and walk 100 meters to a bothy. Like we said, anyone is welcome to stay in a bothy. The door is always unlocked and you're free to use it at almost any time. But it's really important that you follow something called the Bothy Code, which is a set of guidelines that is in place essentially to show that you respect the bothy, respect the environment around it, and respect anyone else that's using the bothy as well. When it comes to respecting the bothy, that really just means keeping it clean and making sure that you carry out all of your rubbish, every single little bit, and definitely any perishable food, which if you leave behind is just going to attract mice. And if anyone else has left any rubbish, it would be really good if you can carry that out as well. They've been naughty, you don't need to be.
One of the other important things, of course, is you have to respect the environment around the bothy, most notably when it comes to doing the toilet. You have to dig your own hole, there's a spade provided, but you should go as far away from the bothy as you possibly can, and also away from water sources like rivers and streams and things like that.
And when it comes to fuel for the fire, you can carry in your own, so coal or wood, or you can scavenge for wood around the bothy, around the area, but never ever cut wood from trees. Live wood will be too wet to burn anyway, and obviously you're just destroying the environment, so that is a definite no-no.
And one of the other important things about the Bothy Code is when it comes to treating other people. So the kind of general rule is there's always room for one more. It's not a like first come first serve when it comes to being in a bothy. It's best to keep an open mind as well. Everyone is welcome, everyone has a right to be there. Also there's a kind of an unspoken rule that you don't talk about politics or religion. Just be welcoming and friendly to everyone that's there.
The other thing is you have to check in advance in case there's any access restrictions that have been put in place by the estate. So usually there's certain times of year like stag stalking season or the hind cull where you might not be able to use the bothy. So do check in advance. You can go on the MBA website, they've usually got up-to-date information and all the phone numbers for you to actually contact the estate and double check. So we'll tell you a bit more about the Bothies that we actually visited in this video. So the first one was one called Penminic. It is on the Artlist Peninsula, and it's about a 2 to 2.5 hour walk from where you can park the car at lay-by to get to the Bothies. So you definitely need to be fairly fit and able in order to actually reach that area. It was a beautiful walk, wasn't it?
It was, and it's a great hike actually in its own right. It's well worth doing.
One of the most exciting things when you first get to a Bothy is like, ooh, is there going to be anyone there or not when you're pushing open that door? And there was at this one, which we suspected because a guy actually passed us on the way in. So there was 4 other people staying there, 3 guys that were all in about their 20s and their ex-Duke of Edinburgh leader whose birthday it was. So they were there kind of having a bit of a knees up. There was a lot of whiskey going around and reminiscing and whatnot. But that was good. So we had a chat with them and kind of had a wee drink and caught up and stuff. But there's 2 rooms downstairs in Penminic Bothy, so we kind of just set up in the other one, and they had one, and yeah, it worked out quite well. So we basically just got the fire going, wine, food, stuck into our fire pots, which are super delicious dehydrated meals, by the way. They do vegan, gluten-free and meat versions, and they are yummy. We've been eating them on hikes for a couple of years now.
They are the best dehydrated meals we've ever had. So.
Nice. And that was it. So they had the sleeping platforms in their room and we were just staying on the stone floor, but the fire was roaring, so it was very cosy. It was fine despite being winter.
The next morning we had a really relaxed time, wandering down by the bay and the beach, having coffee in the sunshine and just enjoying being at the Bothy.
Yeah, it's a really spectacular setting and a lovely sort of peaceful place to be. Unfortunately though, we should say that the estate has since withdrawn its permission to use the Bothy as an open Bothy, which is a real shame. It's one of our favourite ones. We've been a few times, and sad that it's not going to be available anymore in that way. But you are still free to hike in the Artlist Peninsula. You can still walk from where we parked the car over to the bay, and it would be a nice place to wild camp at the beach actually. Although probably not in summer when the midges will be mad.
Once we were all packed up and collected all our rubbish, we left the Bothy, after leaving an entry in the Bothy book of course, slid the bolt on the door and then hiked back out the same way. Took us a little bit less time because we weren't carrying coal and all our supplies and things like that. Back at the car park, it was just a short drive to get to the car park for our next Bothy, which was Glendalee.
It was about a 1 hour walk in on a forest trail to get to Glendalee Bothy, so quite different to the coastal Bothy that we'd been at before. It was quite a nice one. It was nice. Recently renovated, I think, so it literally smelt of fresh pine as we walked in. All of the walls are clad in pine. In fact, it was so nice that every time I walked in, I kept going for the light switch and then realised that there wasn't one. But yeah, we had that one to ourselves, so we just got set up and got the drinks out, got some tunes on. Might have been a bit of dancing that night.
Kim had a wee go in the swing outside before we left. It didn't end well.
I might have made it look successful, but the first attempt on that swing actually went like this.
Oh, careful. Oh.
So remember folks, take your hiking poles off your backpack before you get on a rope swing. For anyone that's interested in the actual kind of video creation side of things, we shot this on our Sony a7 III camera with the 24 to 70 f2.8 lens and the Rode Video Mic Pro attached for the sound. And we've got a DJI Mavic Air drone, and we've got various ND filters that go with that.
There's links to all that gear in the description below, and there's also a link to a blog post we put out covering all our photography gear, so if you're keen to read that, just click through the link.
And editing wise, we use Adobe Premiere Pro and we use Artlist for all of our music. So we've got an annual subscription with them, and if you are looking for something where you can get music for all of your videos and you sign up through our link, which is down below, you'll get 2 free months on your subscription, and so will we. So we'd really appreciate that. Win-win.
It's a good deal. I think that's about it. If we have missed anything that you want to know, just let us know in the comments and we'll get right back to you.
And if you are interested in Bothies and want to find out even more than we have been able to share in this little summary, we've got an entire blog post that is essentially an introduction to Bothies. It's got tons of practical info on, you know, where to find them, what to expect when you're there, what you should be packing to take there, and more information about the MBA as well. So there is a link down below in the description for the blog post on our website about Bothies, and also to the MBA website, where you can donate and also sign up for an annual membership with them, which costs £25 and supports all of the great work that they do.
If you liked the video, please go ahead and subscribe. For all you guys who have subscribed already, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it.
Our videos always go hand in hand with written blog posts, which we publish on the website. So yeah, we don't tend to have like a regular upload schedule, which is why it's good to hit that notification bell, because sometimes it might be 2 weeks between videos, sometimes it might be 3 months. Up next is going to be a video about the Isle of Mull, which is a trip that we actually did directly after leaving this Bothy. We drove down there, took ferry over and spent about a week camping there again in winter, which was our first Scottish winter camping experience. So yeah, stay tuned, get your notifications. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you. Bye.